Hello, and welcome to the Spalin. Dan Rothenberg and Joe Klosik, two guys trying to figure it out. Not the right wing, not the brosphere. Left of center, with humor and empathy.
Hello, everybody.
Welcome to the
Welcome to the
Spalin.
Splain. Subscribe,
Like.
like us.
If we were hip, I would be able to do this, and then later on we put a button or something up there.
Yeah,
But we
we're
can't.
working on the
Uh,
pulsing button, but
we're
just subscribe.
just
You ain't
subscribe.
gonna get what
You're
we
not an
have to
you're not
give
an
anywhere
idiot. You don't
else.
need that.
A
You know where the
couple
button
of
is.
middle-aged dudes trying to navigate. You're gonna get a lot
Yeah.
of people out there that just gonna sort of tell it like it is from their bubble. We're navigating. Joe.
We're navigating from our
Yes.
bubble. Oh, it's
Yeah.
also thanks for describing me as middle aged. I really
No
appreciate that.
problem. That would be generous, right? Is that what you meant?
Yes, it would be
As
very generous to describe me as middle aged
as
now.
opposed to older.
Old. Just
Hmm.
old. Yeah, I'm staring down the uh the gun at 57 yeyears old coming up in November.
57, I'm gonna be 53. It's the same.
I like that. Let's go with that. We're
Go
not
with that.
old.
Yeah, we're
Yeah.
you're looking good. You're hanging in there.
I'm hanging in there.
You
Thanks,
got the
buddy.
nice you got your hair. I noticed that just now.
I got my
You got your
hair.
hair.
I got my hair.
There you
Yeah.
go.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, so you were just saying,
Yeah, so a bit of sad news. So Becky Pedigo, a comedian we both knew very, very well, why when she was
hmm
in San
he
Francisco.
was in San Francisco, then LA, right?
Then
Very
LA,
funny.
very, very funny, very just a really all around authentic, good souled person. Um, so I'm getting news on Facebook, as is often the case these days, that she passed away
Mm.
um, sometime in the last few days, and it's very. I'm searching for the right word because Jim Short passed away a couple months ago,
Yeah.
Becky Pedigo now, and there is this you can see like yeah, we're of that age where medical issues and whatever else are coming up and with Becky it's way too soon to know all the
Yeah.
facts, but from looking at some of her close friends and what they're posting, she had breast cancer but didn't want anyone to know. And in some way that makes sense to me, like knowing Becky, um, she could be very private about some
Hmm.
things, but on stage, she was very open and had some of and also like off stage, she had some amazing.
Was she doing it to the end? Was she still a comedian? I hadn't followed up on her in a while.
I got to be honest with you. Yeah, she's another person where,
Hmm.
I've always had pleasant exchanges with her on Facebook, but even those exchanges over the years have become less and less for no other reason than just, she's down in LA with her group of friends. I'm up here with my group of friends.
Hmm.
You know, um, I know that she was working a lot in a restaurant that she really enjoyed, and she was
Hmm.
writing. I don't know to what full extent. I mean, I'll be honest, it's embarrassing to say I don't really know because I did lose touch, not in a
Sure.
it's just like life moves in different directions sometimes, and then you think about people when you hear this, and she's always one of those persons where I'm like, oh, I really, I like her. I should reach out to her and just say hello,
Hmm.
or what's going on with you these days?
Yeah. Yeah. So it's kind of a lesson in it, reach out to people. If you're thinking maybe I should reach out to this person, just do it. Especially those friendships from our 20s that are so special
Yeah, yeah.
and sacred. And you were saying that so she had breast cancer, she didn't really tell anyone.
Very secretive about it apparently, and that's the thing that and I feel bad relaying this because this is now like, it's very third person. And here's what I'm finding a lot lately in life is when I get news of someone that I used to know and hang out with, in our 20s and 30s doing comedy, it comes through Facebook, and then it's usually like somebody shared something from somebody else.
Hmm.
And it popped up this morning, and then I started looking around, and a lot of the LA comics, other people that we know and hung out with back in the day were talking about it. And the thing that keeps being repeated is nobody knew
Hmm.
that she had breast cancer. People knew that she
Right.
was not feeling great, and I guess she was telling people like, "Oh, I've got some back issues or something."
Mm.
And that's her choice. That's entirely her choice. I think some of the people are saying like, I really wish I could have helped her, and I wish I would have had an opportunity to say goodbye. Um, so yeah, I think there's going to be some resentment that people are going to be dealing
Hmm.
with after the fact. Uh, but
Feeling like they were kept out. Why didn't she talk to me?
yeah, I think there's just
You,
this
you
like,
know,
hey, I wanted to be there for you, or at least say goodbye, and I think people are going
I'll
to
tell you, when
wonder.
not to interrupt, so I
Yeah,
want to
yeah.
jump in because I'm a cancer survivor. I've had it twice, been in chemo twice, and something I've
Mm,
tried to joke about on stage is that one of the tough things is you don't, people don't say the right thing. I don't know how else to say it. It's this weird
wow.
shoes you're walking in where if you know someone you, who has it, just really be aware of making it about you
Mm.
because often we don't want to hear cheerleading. We don't want to hear it'll be okay. We don't want to hear how awesome we are. We don't. I did a joke after I was first diagnosed. I came up with a real tight five. So I looked at it. It's a trade off.
It spurred you to writing.
Yeah, I had some
Yeah.
good jokes. It got me back on stage. But I remember talking about how cancer is like it's a real problem. You know, you're having problems when suddenly everybody's praying for you. And I kind of did a bit on that and how everybody prays for you, and I have to take their prayers. I don't have a choice. I'm the dick. Let's say I'm not into it. Let's say I
Yeah.
don't want your
Yeah.
vibes. Let's say I'll
Yeah.
pray for you.
Yeah.
I can't be like, no, I'm good. You,
I have
it's
insurance.
yeah. I'm, um, I'm a vessel of well intentions you're coming at me with, whether it makes me feel good or not. And a lot of times it's tough because there's no right thing to say. And we don't even know what the right thing to say is.
Yeah.
We don't even know what we're looking for. We just know that's not it. And what happens is you never know how someone's going to react. I sort of got on stage with it because that's what I like to do. But I was very secretive about it. I didn't want
Mm.
to hear it. Like a lot of people, you heard about it, Joe, when I told you.
Yeah.
Um, I'm sure he wouldn't mind saying this. Jeff Hendricks, another comedian, he was Facebooking every day on his cancer, and he
Hmm.
was joking about it in his way, and he was venting about the medical establishment. And I remember thinking, why aren't I doing that? It's just I'm not interested.
That's this.
I
Yeah.
don't want loves and likes in that way. And so one of the real tough things is um you just don't you never know what someone's going through, and it's important to remember whatever it is you might not be able to relate to it,
Right. Right.
and you might not have the right words, and they might want to keep it from you, and
Yeah.
it's nothing personal. I'd be willing to say that it's nothing
Yeah. Yeah.
personal.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like us. I'm sure you do. You like to tell people you're a comedian?
Wow. Now you're hitting me where I live. No,
No, I
not,
mean
you
it's
know what? But you're right. Like,
I don't want to
no,
hear it.
sometimes I don't. Sometimes I
Yeah.
don't. And I'm just like, I
Wow,
don't.
that's a
Yeah. Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
this weird thing that you're going to make me feel worse because you're going to tell me this,
Yeah.
that,
Yeah.
and it's going to wind up, you don't know
Yeah.
the bitterness you're sparking, and you don't,
Yeah.
it's
You're,
this,
oh, yeah. Yeah.
it's different, but the same. You don't, cancer surviving. So even me, like I'm in remission now, and I'm good, but ah, it affects my life still in a way. My parents say the wrong thing. It's a real tricky one,
Yeah.
and sometimes people are secretive. Sometimes people overshare about it,
Yeah.
make their identity.
Yeah.
Um,
I can see that. Yeah.
and
I have this gut feeling, and I could be completely wrong, that Becky was just like, I'm just not, because she did not endure idiots. She
Yeah,
I
she
mean,
was no bullshit.
she
So
was a
why am
no
I gonna
bullshit. Yeah, it's just like I'm
why am I
not
gonna
gonna deal
increase
with
the
it.
bullshit in my
Yeah,
life?
I'm not gonna deal with
Yeah,
it. I
that
don't
makes
want to.
sense.
Yeah, I think that was, and that's her choice, and we got to
Hmm.
respect that. And it's just, yeah, it's shocking though, and again, not to make it about ourselves, not to make it about me, but there is this, oh yeah, I am getting older, and my 20s, that's way behind me now.
Yes.
And but those people, like those memories, it's worth reaching out to people and just saying like, hey man, just thinking about you.
Hmm.
Yeah.
How's yeah, John Hugasian? Not to get too much into it. Is he okay? Is he alive?
Wow, I
Real
have no
funny
idea.
guy.
Yeah, yeah.
And comedians, I would say, we don't fare particularly well when it comes to living. I mean,
A lot of those bad choices catch up to you.
yeah, it just tends to be a combination of unhealthy lifestyle, lack of medical benefits. I
Yeah.
mean, I discovered my cancer after I'd gotten out of comedy and I had insurance. I happened to, not to get all graphic about it, I happened to notice a lump where it shouldn't be. I wasn't in pain. I noticed that. If I was a comedian, still, I wouldn't have gone to the doctor
No,
because
no, you didn't have
whatever.
insurance.
It's a
Yeah,
lump.
yeah,
You know,
yeah. I'll do a bit on it.
do a bit on it.
Yeah.
I got a lump
Hey, it's
in my
Dan
stomach.
Rothenberg and Lumpy. Now I'm a comedy duo.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah. So,
It's
so
just,
let's.
yeah. What's our topic today,
Well,
buddy?
first of all, let me make a toast with my
Oh,
cortado, not to Becky Pedigo. Here's a bit I remember. I thought was really funny. Becky says she goes. She had an SUV way back in the day when it was even when we even noticed that was a threat to the environment. So she said, I was driving my friend around in my SUV. Yeah, I got an SUV. And he was telling me that my SUV is raping the earth. And I said, how about I let you out right here and you can hitchhike, then we'll see who gets raped.
yeah.
I don't have her attitude and timing,
Her
but here's to
cadence,
you,
yeah.
Becky.
She had that very, very dry off stage, and this is not meant as an insult. I found her funnier off stage,
Mm-hmm.
because she just
Yeah.
had this dry, sarcastic delivery, and sometimes
Yeah.
she'd be hovering around a conversation, and then she would just come in and deliver
Mm-hmm.
the devastating blow, you know?
Yes. Becky was the person she would hover and then blow. So why
Yeah,
does she want to tell everyone she's got cancer?
yeah, yeah,
Because
yeah. Just,
you don't
she's
want to
not gonna.
hear fluff.
She did not suffer fools
She
easily.
wasn't one for
No,
fluff.
no, she didn't want it. She didn't want it. Um, God,
Okay,
yes.
Klosko.
All right,
Enough
buddy.
touchy feely.
All right. Yeah, yeah. Fuck that.
Fuck. Anyway, we got shit to
Anyway,
talk about.
yeah.
Here's
Let's.
okay.
What are we talking about,
We're
Dan?
going to talk about mental health now. We're
Yeah. Fuck the touchy feely shit.
going to talk about mental health now. In the I want to open up, and we'll see where this goes. I want to give my theory on our president, the guy. I do not like to say his name.
Oh my God.
I don't
Okay.
like to say his name because then he wins. And and it is not my desire to even talk about policies and politics as much as my um my take on him in terms of what makes him tick. And
Hmm.
it's been an open question since 10 years ago. Um how does he operate? Is he calculated? Is he stupid? Is he brilliant? why does he do the things he does? And I would just like to give you my take on it
So it's strictly through the lens of mental health.
through the lens of mental health.
Okay.
Okay. Why does he do what he does? Because a lot of, you ever notice a lot, you hear him described as erratic and unpredictable, but what I see is predictable from my particular lens. And it does come from the word that most people describe him, which is narcissism,
Hmm.
which I believe is true. But I think we talk about narcissism kind of incorrectly. We talk about it from a
It
moral standpoint.
it gets thrown around a lot, that word.
Yes.
Yeah.
We talk about it particularly with him from the standpoint of judging him. And ironically, it doesn't serve the conversation to judge him. It's more helpful to look at the if we look at the behavior for what it is, and this is what I
Can
believe it is.
can you not to cut you off, but can
No,
you define narcissism
yeah,
for me?
narcissism is characterized by grandiosity and a certain lack of empathy and grandiosity and blown up sense of self.
Okay.
Okay,
Okay. Yeah.
but the question is kind of why and how does that manifest? Now, the way we tend to look at it is, well, it's because he's a dick and he's a selfish guy and he should stop doing that.
Yeah.
But narcissism is a personality thing. It's a it's a personality disordery kind of thing, which means that's who you are and you're operating a certain way. And
Yeah.
often, this is what makes personality disorders so difficult. You don't have insight into it. So, a personality disorder, as opposed to a mood disorder, people with PTSD are aware of trauma and they're aware it's affecting them. Depressed people are aware they're depressed. It's very hard to get out of it, but there's an awareness of a norm. There's an awareness of a societal norm that I might try to get to. Whereas this is a simple way of looking at it. Personality disorders is more of the symptoms are now running the show.
Hmm.
The inmates are a bit running the asylum of your life, and you now have a personality that you are projecting onto the world and trying to and you're making that work, and it's tricky to treat.
And I will say,
And
and this is in no way defends him,
right.
but it's hard to say he hasn't been successful because he is the president.
Yes. So what I would say is he is an example of where mental illness and privilege
Oh God, yeah.
create the perfect storm.
Yeah, yeah.
So here's how I would view him. Okay. So narcissism, someone with, again, we've heard a lot of armchair diagnoses, but I would throw narcissism his way. I think we can safely say that. Someone with extreme narcissism, there's a spectrum, is a fish out of water who needs to survive. So that person is going to has to suck up all the moisture from everywhere.
everyone.
So
Yeah.
it's a species. Trump is kind of his own species, always looking to strive and survive in every way, not just in a calculated sort of, oh, he's making this policy in order to make money, just fundamentally on an emotional level. And this is what he's actually very good at. So you want to talk about him being he's extremely detail oriented about doing things and saying things that create an environment for him to thrive on a very detailed micro, macro, meso level.
Hmm.
He'll chime in about something in a way, if you look at it, it serves him. So normally, I'll give you an example. Okay, the Central Park Five,
Oh God. Okay.
was
Yeah.
that in the 80s or the 90s?
That was the 80s.
Okay,
That was
that was the 80s.
the end of the 80s. Yeah.
Five black teenagers wrongfully convicted of a murder. Correct.
Correct.
Now look way back then. he um the dude, actually not the dude, that's disrespecting the Big Lebowski. I don't want to call him that. What's his name? Put out an article like in the New Yorker at the
No,
time.
he bought a full page ad in the New York Times.
Right. He bought a full page ad in the New York Times. Now, why? Right? Now, when we rule out civic duty or any kind of actual concern for the public, why would he do that? I would say it's because, on a very fundamental level, a society of social and racial justice does not serve him. It does not, again, that's less moisture. Really?
I mean, could we just say he's racist?
Sure.
Is it deeper
But
than
they, but
is
I
it
but
deeper than that? You're saying like he
from
could
a
be
mental,
racist, but
sure, he's racist, but
this serves a
he's
bigger
any
purpose.
he's anythingist
Ah,
from a mental health perspective, as long as it empowers him. So that's where you have
hmm.
the lack of empathy component of narcissism. You're fighting for an environment that props you up and empowers you. Why? Often because of trauma, often because one way or the other, living is a so a lot of times with narcissism, we look at like lack of empathy and grandiosity, because those are
Hmm.
things we can look at and go, yeah, what it yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah.
But there's also two other things you want to look at. There's a controlling, highly controlling person, and there's a fear of vulnerability. So on some level, this is not, I'm not saying this to try to justify anything or even um, uh, coddle him, but there's also a sense of I must um, I must control and create my
Environment.
environment. I cannot risk being myself or risk rejection or risk anything. I have to make,
Yeah.
that's the essence of personality ish type of disorders. I'm too damaged on a fundamental level. The inmates are the symptoms are my personality now, and I have to make it work.
Yeah, the only problem is the reality he's trying to shape is the nation.
And it's
And
working. So normally, right.
yeah, it's terrifying because you see the
Yes.
controlling and lack of empathy acting out
Right.
in policies.
Right.
You see it acting the chaos. I mean, for a while there, when they were having all those conversations about trade barriers and
Mm-hmm.
tariffs, and they were talking about negotiations with other country, they kept saying over and over and over again, no, no, he's not chaotic. It's a strategic negotiating
Right.
tactic, which was a bullshit way. But I
Right.
think the chaos, if I'm understanding what you're saying, it also serves a
It,
purpose.
chaos is calm for him
Chaos is calm for him.
because he can control chaos. And in my opinion, he just has an instinct for it. Why is he taking what does he care about the Central Park Five? What does he care about chiming in on? Look at everything he chimes in on. Just
Yeah.
is and that's where he does do the weave. And he is quite brilliant. Everything, when he doubles down on kind of this bullyish thing to piss us off, it serves him. It creates what appears to be leftist liberals whining. He pushes and pushes
Yeah,
and
he
pushes.
wants to trigger an
Yeah.
emotional outburst so he can,
Yes.
yeah,
It
yeah,
all right. So it all kind of works to his benefit. And to me, when I look at it through that lens, it makes sense to me. So for instance,
yeah,
tariffs. Let's take that. Now we're arguing from a financial, from an economic, from a policy point of view. He knows the point is tariff, trade war. Okay, here's me and here's people coming to me, and I'm at the
yeah.
head of the table, right? I
He
can,
gets to be the big man.
yeah,
Absolutely.
and it's
Yeah.
not even right. It's just instinct. It's just
And I mean, everything about it is flawed, though.
It doesn't
From,
matter
but it
because
does
that's all
yeah, exactly.
he just
I get you.
leans
Yeah, he
into.
leans into it like I'm in
He
control.
yeah,
Yeah,
the reality of it doesn't matter to him.
right.
He just it's
But
that Roy Cohn
yeah,
mentorship,
attack, attack, attack.
double down, double down, double down, and it works. So
It's
usually people with a personality disorder, particularly narcissism,
yeah,
they wind up the problem because again, we don't have empathy and we don't have insight.
right.
So usually what they run into is the problem with relationships and the fact that they're alone and no one wants to be around them anymore. Or you become president.
Well, let me ask you this. So
Yeah.
it's safe to say, and I think anyone with a little bit of empathy and can see objective reality knows he's a highly damaged individual. Um, what happens? Because I think I was involved with a narcissist at a point.
Mm-hmm.
I had this 2.5 year relationship, and diagnosing from a distance or whatever, but I think she had narcissistic personality disorder. I mean, everything
Mm-hmm.
was very much about her. There was a lack of
Right.
empathy, grandiosity, everything.
Is it the one I'm picturing?
Probably, but let's
Okay.
let's not name names because I'm
I just
also
for my own, yeah.
I am legitimately
Yes.
afraid that she will do legal action because that's what they do,
Yes.
right?
Right. Right.
So here's what I'm asking. Like I there were these brief moments sometimes when
Mm-hmm.
she was cornered,
Mm-hmm.
right? When she had to admit some reality, she had to take some responsibility, she knew she was going to be held accountable, and
Damn this.
that was when she was at her worst. So what is the danger? What's going on over there, buddy?
My fucking microphone
Uh-oh. Oh,
is sort of
geez.
unplugging. Okay, we're okay
Yeah,
for
you know
now.
why? Because he's listening.
I
That's
know.
what's happening.
Yeah.
The deep state, buddy. They're
Totally,
there.
dude.
They're coming
Totally.
on in.
Yep.
Well, let me ask you. So I got two follow-up questions for all this, basically. Uh, there's a real danger, right, when a
Mhm.
narcissist feels cornered, because that's
Yes.
that's when they really lash out, and
Yep.
that's when things get scary. And I have this genuine fear that things are going in a way for him right now where he is being pushed into a corner. I'm not excusing him. It has to happen, but it is scary to me because I really do think we haven't seen at all the worst of things yet. And
Hmm.
if he is pushed into a corner, he is liable to say and do some things that we're all going to be paying for.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
that worries me. The other thing that I'm curious about, like is your take on this? Who do narcissists surround themselves with?
Sycophants, is that the right?
Sycophants?
People that um reinforce the moisture in the air, people that give
Mm,
them energy, people
yeah,
that um uphold their grandiosity, and
right.
more than that though, create an environment where they can justify themselves. So, for instance, I notice there's some narcissism is a spectrum, and there's some narcissistic people in my family who will remain nameless. And here's something I notice from them: they kind of say the same thing over and over again, same
Mm,
theme, same thing.
hmm.
That kind of creates a narrative of them being the person they want to be.
Right.
So it could sound, let's say hypothetically, this isn't my situation.
Yeah.
Let's say your parents have narcissistic tendencies. Parents tend to not necessarily have the disorder, but sometimes tend to have narcissistic tendencies toward their children
Mm,
because they be, because there's such guilt and shame and pride that goes along with parenting, to look in the mirror and see a good parent. So
mm,
there is no So there's a certain type of deflection always. They're
Sure.
always doing
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
terms of who they are as a parent.
Yeah.
And people like that, they'll often repeat themselves.
Oh
Very
yeah.
subtle, but not subtle. You
Oh,
know what?
not so.
Everybody's
Yeah.
kind of screwed up. And you know what? You just got to try the best you can.
Oh my God.
I always
Yeah.
did this with you, and I always did sort of controlling this constant controlling of a narrative.
Yeah. That was my mom. That was my mom.
Okay.
Absolutely. We tried so hard with you.
Mm-hmm.
We gave you so much. We
Mm-hmm.
tried the best we could, Joey.
Right.
Yeah.
And you don't realize how much you're saying that. And as a kid, as the child, you almost want to say, okay, I guess so.
Yeah. Yeah. No,
I don't
that's,
really have, it's
I mean,
interesting.
towards,
I don't have a say in it.
yeah. Yeah.
But and that is something I just try to be constantly aware of with my kid. Do not be a broken record
Yeah.
um typical parent telling your kid what a good parent you are.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I constantly would hear like, "You'll see someday. You will see." Like,
Right.
yeah, I did.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
Yeah.
I did see. And
Right. So
yeah.
what I find in my practice a lot is kids that just want a little acknowledgement for what they went through and want a little bit of accountability,
Mm,
and their parents can't do it because too much is at stake. Their
yeah.
personality is built upon this house of cards.
So what happens because,
Yeah.
talking about being on that spectrum and the sycophants that are basically feeding the ego. Like if you've seen any of those cabinet meetings where they go around the table and all
Mm-hmm.
of these people in very important government offices, with your leadership, sir, we've been able
Mm-hmm.
to, it's disgusting. It looks like they're
Yeah, I
praising,
know.
North
And
Korean leader. What happens
right.
if they start to undermine him? What happens if they start to say like, actually, sir, or yeah, that's not true? What happens if that goes on with someone who has narcissistic personality disorder?
He goes after them and tries to destroy them, and again, well, that would be my guess is
Yeah,
destroy them, primary them, um, all of those wonderful tools in his pocket that have been so effective for him. He's a mess. He's crazy. I don't know what happened with him. Isn't that I know this person more than anyone. I can negotiate with this person. He's crazy. He went
yeah,
nuts.
yeah. So yeah, that's you're talking about Putin. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean,
Oh,
and
now
it,
so now you
yeah,
don't know him.
yeah,
Oh, I guess
yeah,
you didn't know him. He's it, um in order to stop it, you have to stop it. You can't play his game and stop it.
right, right.
Um so for instance, when do narcissistic parents back off? When they're just faced with reality, when you have very consistent boundaries with them, and it becomes a little more methodical. Thanks, mom, I'm good. Yep, gotcha. Thank you. All right. And you ba boom, ba boom, ba boom, and then they will adjust the best they can. What does that
Yeah,
look like in our country?
yeah.
um what do you think?
Well,
What does
that I
that look
mean,
like?
we're seeing it. We're seeing it. I mean, we're in this emotionally abusive relationship with a president, and we're
Yeah.
all paying for it. And it I think you're right. He is very predictable. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, one of the things that we saw is the whole taco trade thing,
Yeah.
the TACO, right? And it is true, like objectively true. If you go back and you look at all of these tariff
Yes.
deals, right? He caved every time. Every time he caved. And there are people making money off of that cave.
Mm-hmm.
And
Right.
I will even say, like, even I with my little on my little app here, with my little fidelity thing, right? Like, okay, he's mentioning that tariffs are going to go up, so the stock market goes down.
Mm-hmm.
I buy
Mm-hmm.
a little bit more of an ETF or something, and then sure enough, a couple of weeks later, things go up, right? Because he
Mm-hmm.
backs down. So he
Mm-hmm.
is very predictable in that sense.
That's
Uh,
what I'm saying.
Yeah. Yeah.
how I look at it.
But here's what's scary to me,
Yeah.
right? Because I also feel like we are constantly on the edge of things getting out of control. Like
Hmm.
he is going to say something or actually involve the military in a situation that is not going to easily be unwound, where you can't just, step up to the microphone and then say the opposite thing
Hmm.
and everything, that is where I think even his idea of I can control everything. I know what's going on. I am a stable genius,
Hmm.
right? At a certain point, it's like, look, you're gonna you're gonna let some forces out of the box
The
and
genie out of the
the
bottle.
genie out of the bottle,
I
whatever
know.
metaphor you want to use. And then
Yeah.
once that happens, like I'll give you a very real example. So I don't know if you saw some of the footage from San Diego this weekend where ICE went into a community and they were detaining people in restaurants and they were pulling restaurant workers out. And the
Hmm.
community
Hmm.
pushed back and people were showing up outside the restaurant and they are surrounding the ice people who are in tactical gear. They've got masks on and this is ice, they threw flashbang grenades into the crowd,
Hmm.
right, to disperse the people yelling at them and taking pictures. Now here's the thing, there's going to be more of that. If somebody in that crowd had a gun
Hmm.
and took a shot at one of the ICE
Hmm.
troopers,
Right.
and the ICE troopers have machine guns, like literal
Hmm.
machine guns. When a situation like that unfolds, you can't reel it back.
Hmm.
And then once that
Right.
happens, on one hand, I almost feel like that almost needs to happen for people to realize where we're
Hmm.
headed. But I also feel like once that happens, Trump isn't going to go, oh, it's a tragedy. We're going to review
Right.
policies. He's going to double down and go, well, that's what happens, right? When you
Right.
get in the way of what we're
Mm.
trying to do. We're trying to make
Right.
America better, and these people were
Right.
enemies.
So
And
he
then
has, right. He's got the grandiosity and the lack of empathy to do it. And
that's what terrifies me. That's what
it is, no,
terrifies me.
it is terrifying. And here's how, let's wrap up on this. I was watching whatever doom scroll I was watching, you know, CNN or um, I can't watch uh, I cannot watch CNN anymore because of Scott Jennings. Like I can't even
Yeah, I'm with
listen
you.
to him. But okay, so this I thought this was kind of insightful. This Trump supporter said, "I just love him. I love the way he every time someone criticizes him, he just triggers him right back. You tell him not to do something, boom, he
Yeah,
does it." Now, let's isolate that for a second. And if you're out there and if you feel that way, something to keep in mind is that is fundamentally bullying. What bullying is taking your power or perceived power and using it to get a reaction, using it to upset people.
hmm,
So you are currently on the side of the bully, and that's why bullies have friends around them laughing.
yeah.
But that is what that is. That is what you're enjoying.
Yeah, it's bullying. Absolutely. Yeah.
It's
It
fundamentally bullying.
it's
So
not governing.
if you're getting right now, he's tricked you into thinking you're the victim, so you're allowed to bully back. But
Yeah,
actually,
yeah,
you are a Cobra Kai. Get him a body bag. That is you. You are laughing at pain.
yeah,
And
yeah,
is that what you want? Is that the role model you want for your kids? Is that a good way to be a president, to be a bully? Just because you happen to be enjoying watching people get
yeah.
bullied.
Just because you made terrible choices and peaked in fifth grade, and you
Okay,
don't.
now
Am I
I'll let
am
you
I
run with
bullying
that.
back? But well, I mean, the thing that is always you're 100% right about that, and the thing that always fascinates me is like that's not governing and it's
Right.
unsustainable.
He is supposed to be the president for all of us. And
Yeah,
here's a simple way to look at it, or a different way to look at it. Imagine what it would be like to be us, liberals. We're human beings. And think about, you guys have all the fun. We get nothing. We just get kicked, and you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's sort of like, even if you wanted to just empower yourself and kind of get into that bullying way of being.
Sometimes I just want
All the
to,
nicknames are in your direction.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I don't know what
Some
I'm getting at there, actually.
Sometimes I just want to ride around in my monster truck with
Mm-hmm.
naked women mud flaps and just
We
shoot
get
people who
nothing.
are
We get
different.
nothing.
I don't get that fun.
Yeah.
Just that's a rainbow. Boom.
Yeah.
What, just take it out.
Yeah. We need to think and go to college and
It's exhausting.
do yoga.
Empathy. Oh my God, yoga is the word downward facing dog. Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah. Do I get to mention how hot she looks doing downward facing
Never.
dog?
Even if
No,
you're
no.
facing it.
No, he is right there in
Didn't.
my face. Yeah, I am facing downward facing doggy
Yes.
style. You can't call it that in
Yeah.
yoga class. It's not doggy style.
Right. To
I
pretend.
I've been asked to leave.
Uh-huh. Okay. On that note,
Well,
but
Dan,
the point is,
yeah, what's the point? Bring it, put a bow
the
on it.
the point is, again, that is bullying. It's not. So look in the mirror and at least admit that. Is Imagine what a liberal Trump would be, and how unpleasant that would be for you.
Ooh.
A liberal Trump, someone that says disenfranchised every third word, someone that wears yoga pants, someone that is constantly
It's
using our buzzwords and
mandatory that you wear a rainbow.
yes, and
Yeah.
pushing on it, pushing on it, pushing on it. We're far from that.
Have you apologized to the descendants of slavery today?
That's right.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
We're just here at the Splain. We're not pushing for that. We just want to be reasonable,
We just want to
reasonable
be
and
reasonable.
respectful
Yeah.
to each other.
To each other, except maybe those fucking
Okay,
assholes.
that don't agree with us.
Yeah.